good afternoon to some of you, depending on where you hail from today for our second installment of our wildly popular virtual event, Art Olympics. This is a part of Community Day Game On, which is a day-long event we're doing today virtually. We're very excited about. And for more of today's events, you can find that information on our website, our Facebook page, and you can register to attend some of our other events that we have happening throughout the day. I will also share a link in the chat below in a few minutes so that you all can see what else we're doing for Community Day Game On. But this morning, we are going to go head-to-head with Art Olympics. So if this is your first Art Olympics, let me say welcome and that you are in for a real treat. But if I'm welcoming you back to maybe your second viewing of Art Olympics, I want you to know that this one is going to be a close one. So let me remind you all how this works today. We've got 2 museums, 10 rounds, which means 20 works of art, but there can only be 1 winner, and you all decide who the winner is going to be today. So without further ado, let me introduce tonight's contestants. We are joined by 2 distinct and unique institutions who will be battling it out for a chance at the gold. From Birmingham Museums, give us a little wave, Birmingham, we have Joanne Curtis, Curator of History. She is the curator of Birmingham's collections, which houses over more than 42,000 items from Birmingham history, and it has a diverse collection representing the history of Birmingham and its people. And then we have Andrew Fowles, Learning and Access Manager for Birmingham Museum Trust, and his work involves championing inclusion and accessibility in museums and the broader arts and heritage sector, very important work. And particularly when seeking opportunities for community engagement and co-production with super diverse audiences. So welcome, Joe and Andy from Birmingham.
Yeah.
And just for those of you joining who maybe haven't been to Birmingham, England in the UK, I want to just give you a brief description. Birmingham Museums Trust has 9 extraordinary venues that provide fascinating glimpses into Birmingham's rich and vibrant past. And they showcase a world-class museum collection. If you go on their website, you'll be wildly impressed, as I was. Their grounds include things like a watermill, a castle, a Tudor house, and that's just to name a few. So when we can travel again, I think we're all putting Birmingham on our next to-visit list.
Yeah.
And then I want to introduce 2 maybe familiar faces, but maybe brand new faces for some of you. And that is Fran Garrido and Daryl Dewayne from the Newark Museum of Art. Daryl Dewayne is the coordinator of community engagement. He is a visual and performing arts artist who's been a part of the Newark family for about 8 years now. He works on coordinating community engagement at the museum. And when he's not doing that, he moonlights a little bit in front and behind the camera in film and television. So you might see him in other aspects of his work. And then Fran Garrido, who you all may know from her wonderfully popular family programs at the museum, is a museum educator. She's been an early childhood educator with us for 12 years now. She develops programs. She loves doing kids and families events. She's a teaching artist as well as a studio artist. So welcome, Joe and Andy and Fran and Daryl. Now that we've gone over all of the important bits, it's time to get down into the fun part. So let me remind our contestants the rules of today's events. Each museum is going to have 1 minute to defend the work that they choose to present for each category. If you go over time, you're going to hear this sound. Okay? 1 minute, and I'll buzz you if you go over. As I mentioned, we're going to have 10 categories to present to you all today. Once both museums have presented both works, you all watching on Facebook Live or on our Zoom call that we're doing right now must decide the winner for us for each round. So if you're on Zoom, we're going to have a poll pop up and you're going to see it really bright and in the middle of the screen. You're going to choose which one you want. You click whether it's Newark or Birmingham. And then if you're on Facebook Live, I want to encourage you all to just write that in the chat below. We have some people working behind the scenes to count all of that, calculate it, and add that to our final score at the end. So at the end of the game, we're going to tally it all up. We're going to award 1 winner, because only 1 can go home with the gold today. How do we feel? Are we ready? We're ready to go?
Ready.
All right. Along the way, if you all watching have any questions or comments, please type them in the chat below. And because the conversation is really fun and we want to talk with everyone, when you're in the chat, it'll say 2. So be sure you drop down and click all panelists and attendees so that we can all talk with each other today as we're chatting about what our favorites are or what we think we're looking at, or maybe some of the creepy stuff that's kind of spooky. So go ahead and click on the chat and click 2, and then all panelists and attendees. And I'm going to be writing some stuff in there today to say hello to you all as well. So now that we've gone over all the important bits of this event, I think it's time to get started. What do you all think?
Let's do it.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Are we ready to go?
Yeah.
All right. I think our panelists are itching, and I know you all at home in Zoom and on Facebook are probably like, come on, Megan, let's get this party started. So our first category that we're going to be doing today is crazy eyes. Okay, crazy eyes. You're going to hear from our 2 museums. They're going to present to you 1 minute each of what they think is the craziest eye. And up first, we have Newark Museum. So Daryl, go ahead and take it away. I'm putting 1 minute on my timer, and go ahead.
All right. So one of the reasons you should vote for this piece, let's talk about before we even get into the details of the piece. The piece is made by jeweler and artist Sam Kramer. However, the artist's nickname is the Mushroom Man. That by itself should like at least get us a few points. I'm like, the Mushroom Man, I don't know what that may imply, but that's what his alias was in the neighborhood that he is from. So keep in mind that this is actually a piece of glass put together with a taxidermied eye. So
where's the eye? Whose eye is it?
That's a great question, friend. Like, I'm curious to know, where did the Mushroom Man get the eye? I'm not saying that there may be a cold case somewhere in Greenwich Village, but there just might be a cold case somewhere in Greenwich Village where there is a missing eye, and we may have just cracked the case. So for all of you all who want to, see the best team win, I think what we just delivered one of the most phenomenal pieces.
Oh.
Oh, and Fran, I see that you might know a little bit about where this eye came from.
You never know.
You might
never know.
All right. We've got some questions in the chat. Is it it's taxidermied? Is it a human eye? So while I launch this poll for everyone to choose their favorite, Daryl, is this a human eye?
So what
Just
it is, it doesn't give us an actual, it doesn't let us know where the taxidermied eye come from. We know it's a real eye. We just don't know whose eye. I'm thinking animal based upon the pupil, right? But we don't know from what animal that this eye is derived from. But it is made out of gold and silver and gemstones and glass. So pretty piece, but it's a real eyeball from somewhere.
It's really eye-catching.
I was thinking.
So everyone watching on Facebook Live and all of you in Zoom, now is your chance to vote. Check it out. Which will you choose here? I'm sorry. You know what? I'm getting ahead of myself, y'all.
Yep.
I'm getting ahead of myself. I got
like,
so
they didn't
excited.
even show their work.
I got so excited.
Y'all
Y'all got to tell me to calm down over here. Okay. So you had 1 minute, Daryl. You showed us your eye. We're gonna redo that poll because that was a practice poll for all of us who are like, what is Art Olympics? But now we're gonna move on to Joe because Joe's like, I want to talk about mine. So Joe, I'm putting 1 minute on our timer here for you to tell us a little bit more about Mud Monkey. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is Mud Monkey. He says hello. Mud Monkey dates from around 2000 to 1800 BC. He's made mostly from mud, funnily enough, and his crazy eyes are tiny green faience beads. And faience is crushed quartz and kind of coloured silica or glass. So this artifact from the Middle Kingdom in Egypt is really quite special. The ancient Egyptians kept pet monkeys, including baboons, for amusement and as status symbols. Although some Egyptian artwork does show people with scratches on their arms, demonstrating the temperamental nature of wild animals as pets. This mighty monkey is only 3.5 centimeters tall, but don't let his tiny stature fool you into thinking he's a pushover. Remember, Mud Monkey has crazy eyes. It's rumored that Mud Monkey, this is not based on any historical facts, entered a staring competition, and he has not blinked in over 4,000 years. Today he still,
All right.
Well, I think
Okay.
he just blinked.
you think.
It was the buzzer that caught him off guard.
Oh,
So now let's try this again. Let's do this the right way, okay? Now you all have seen how it's not meant to be done. We're going to relaunch our polling here. We have two wonderful choices. We have our mysterious mud monkey, and we have our glass gaze. So who is it going to be? I'm going to share here one more time on the screen for you all to just remind you of what our two presenters shared with us. Will it be our tiny little mud friend or our taxidermied eyeball? And I'm just going to keep that up for a couple moments. I think the chat here, if you all have it open too, panelists, has some
We
really
do. I mean, the next
wonderful content for you all.
Quite hilarious. I'm just looking at some of the. We have some. I think some other contestants that will be ready for volume 3.
Yes. Yes.
Of Art Face Off this or Art Olympics. This is hilarious.
And if you're joining us, and if you're joining us on Facebook Live, please write in the comments below. Our behind the scenes workers are making sure that they are tallying your votes as well. So mysterious mud monkey or glass gaze. I'm going to go ahead and end polling here. This is a close one, you all.
Ooh.
But it looks like our tiny friend so far is taking the lead. We'll see what Facebook says. Let me show you all a little bit here.
Come on, mud monkey.
So close.
All right.
Like the mud monkey pulled it out.
Glass gaze.
Giant leaps.
So that was a good way for us to warm up. I think we all feel very competitive now at this point. So let's move on to our second round, which is Handsome Devil. So for this round, we've got 2 works here by our contestants. Give you all a chance to preview what you're going to hear about today. 1 minute each. And we're going to begin now with Andy from Birmingham. Andy, I'm going to go ahead and give you 1 minute on the clock and you can start now.
Well, this handsome devil is Captain Gilbert Heathcote. He was born into the gentry family in 1779. He was the youngest son of a baronet. And him and his brother entered the Navy, which he reached the rank of officer during the French Revolutionary Wars. He was promoted to command very early on in the Napoleonic Wars, but his ship was wrecked in a gale. So perhaps he was too busy looking in the mirror, being that handsome devil, when he didn't realize that what rocks were in front of him. But he's not fazed by this. You can tell this by that stance, that power stance. He's got the buttons and bling that's really bringing it on. Heathcote is an absolutely adored painting in the museum, and it's a welcome friend to everyone that comes and visits him. His swagger, his stance, his pose, he's exuding that loveliness. And I think even his gaze taken by that artist, just distracting him from that storm that's going on behind him there, with the little boats just floating on that water, just in the tiny specks of distance. We love him.
Thank you, Andy. I'm sorry I have to employ my taboo buzzer on you all.
You're loving it. We know
just
it.
For the, to keep things fair and equal. I would like to now pass it over to Fran from the Newark Museum of Art. I'm putting 1 minute on the clock. Fran, tell us a little bit more about this work.
Okay, so these are 2 handsome dudes for sure. This is Unrecorded Artist, Untitled, 2 Asian Men. And it was a gift of Frank Maresca, who donated 320 photos similar to this, or different genre, but different things. But I'm kind of liking, I brought my whip with me just in case one of them gets out of hand. And look at that swagger that guy on the right, my right, your left, has. They've either just come from a night out discoing or heading into a disco and putting on some moves to the locals. And I love the little tie around his neck. It's just so sweet. They're just so young and vibrant and full of life, dancing it up, living it up, as we all did when we were 17 or 18 and 19 or more. But I'm really loving this. This is a great piece. Okay, I got my whip in.
You got your whip in.
Whip it good.
Woo!
All right. So we've heard from Fran, we've heard from Andy. I'm going to go ahead and launch our poll. If you are on Facebook Live, please reply in the chats below. Who are you going to choose? Is it our confident captain or our monochromatic mates?
You know, I don't think this is fair that we had to go up against Jack Sparrow, the version form of Jack Sparrow. Like, I mean,
I don't know. I think your two fellows are really good as well. I think
they are.
They are handsome devils. They really are.
Shout out to all my everyday working guys.
Our co-workers.
I'm going to go and get me a neckerchief.
See, that's what you were missing all these years, right?
All right, I'm going to let this poll be open for about 5 more seconds. And we're going to share with everyone what our decision is. Now, remember, these polls are only a part of what the real story is, because we're also calculating what people are telling us on Facebook. So it may look like things are leaning one way or the other, but you can never tell. So I'm going to go ahead and end our polling here and share with everyone. All right.
You knew that was coming. I hope my mom was voting for me on Facebook. Like,
Newark Museum, you've got it. You've got your work cut out for you. We've got to really step it up here, don't we? All right. So let's move into our third round here. Creepiest object. I wish I had some horror music in the background playing for this one.
It speaks of it.
I'm giving you all a little preview here of our creepiest objects. And up first is Birmingham. So Andy, I'm going to put 1 minute on the clock and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Cool, thank you very much. This creepy object is a Victorian baby doll encased in a heavy kind of plasterwork. And it's one of the creepiest things we've come across. You can see its mouth opening and shutting there. And we don't know much about it, but we know it's probably one of the creepiest things that we can share with you all. It's got those really hazy eyes and piercing blue as well. They're kind of judging you, which we can't really tell what it's going to be doing, screaming at you, telling you to do something. We just don't know that one there. But it's really starting to get tatty and scary on there. And it looks like half a mummy. And it's so strange. And we can't get it out of our minds how creepy it is. Whenever we think about it, we come straight back to this. It's got a weird bellows action in it that makes the mouth move and open and close. But weirdly, there was something we were talking about when we saw the object, and it was the idea of Victorian green and all that painted green around the outside of the object. And we were finding out that most greens in the Victorian times did contain levels of arsenic. So along with the creepy and scary face, we've also got... What?
Oh, I like how you left us on a mystery there. Along with all of that, we've got, and we're never going to know now.
Continue the voting.
Dang it. Got to go to Birmingham.
Let's turn it over to Newark. Newark Museum, this is for you, Daryl. I'm going to put 1 minute on the clock.
All right.
Let's hear it.
So, I mean, I don't know if this is art imitating life or life imitating art, but being from America right now and just seeing a clown in front of the American flag, I'm gonna just leave it there. We have a lot of images that we can compare this to in our current state. However, I don't know if it gets any creepier than that. I mean, a clown in front of the American flag. This seems to be a horror movie that has sort of manifested in real life. So I think by that alone, I mean, even you in the UK can empathize and sympathize with us. I think you should just send us, if nothing else, an empathy vote. As this piece was created in 2002. The artist that created the piece is unknown, and it's a chromogenic print. It's a gift from Frank Mascara, and again, the subject of the photography is also unknown. So who knows?
American Horror Story.
A very American horror story. If you follow.
All right, my friends, the time has come. I'm seeing so many wonderful comments in the chat. While I have the voting up, we do have a question, I believe, for Andy about where this Victorian baby doll is located in the museum. So is that on view right now?
It's not on view right now, but it is. It's in with our museum collection centre at the moment. So we do open the museum collection centre regularly. Well, I say regularly, a little bit world changing around that. But we try and open it to people at least once a month, where The rest of our 800,000 objects are stored, actually. Joe looks after a big percentage, and we've got even more across our other museums. So we'll make sure we get them out, you know, on a regular basis and turn them around as much as possible.
Wonderful. And then Daryl, it looks like someone's noticing that maybe the clown is holding a Bible. We're seeing these creepy paintings in the background, like we're not sure what's going on, and they're getting a little freaked out by it.
One of the comments where they said the artist is probably unknown because the clown got him. Like I really think that our chat is more popping than some of the commentary we've been delivering. Like if you're not in the chat, like you're missing out. For all of you who are watching via Facebook Zoom, so I would encourage you to log onto the Zoom because the chat
onto Zoom. The chat is popping over here. And so you all have to decide now between the bewitched baby doll or the creepy clown. And if you're on Facebook, just type that in the chat. Who's it going to be? The clown or the baby doll? Our polling here on Zoom has ended, but you can still vote on Facebook Live. I'm going to share the results here with you. I think it was the mouth. I think it was the
yeah.
I think it was the mouth that really did it for us. All right, let's move into round 4. Round 4, we're doing a little differently. Instead of us starting by giving you information about these works, we want to hear from you all in the chat and in the Facebook comments. What is it? So we're going to put this up on the screen. This is our first object here. And I want to see in the chat, what is this? What do you all think this is? Someone's guessing a stamp. Maybe a stamp. Coasters. Oh, you know what? Those do look a lot like modern day, like coffee table coasters. Stovetop covers. Maybe it's a form of currency. These are all excellent guesses. These are fantastic. Lacy dollies and clay. Maybe they're decorations for a wall, or maybe they're bowls or stencils. Oh my goodness, so many great answers here.
Yeah, they are.
So maybe now we'll show you the other object you're going to hear about. And I want to hear from you all, what do you think this is? We've got can opener. We've got all kinds of answers here. Surgical instrument, tooth extractor.
Are we allowed to throw one in there? I'm thinking prosthetic leg. I don't know.
Prosthetic leg. Okay. Maybe it's like the hand from Hook from Peter Pan. Maybe that's what he holds on to. Something dental. These are amazing guesses. A handle. Maybe it's a button doer upper to do your buttons. A shoe tie. All right. You all have done fantastic jobs guessing what these two objects are. But now we're going to hear from our experts. So first, we're going to hear from the Newark Museum of Art. Fran, I'm going to put 1 minute on the clock here. And we need to know, what the heck is this?
Well, this is unrecorded artists. They are filters. They updated Egypt pottery. They're only about 2 3/4 by 3/4 inches. And they're water filters for jars. The pierced rondelles were made separately and inserted into a neck of a water jar to filter out debris. However, I wonder if it was just for water. Could it have been for rice or for sand or some illegal something or other? I don't know. But they are very beautiful and very old, as you can see. And wheat, someone said wheat. That's a great idea.
Wonderful. All right, let's move on to our next contestant here. We need to know, what is it? And this one's for Joe from Birmingham. I'm going to put 1 minute on the clock here for you.
Well, actually, a number of people have actually guessed it right. It is a tooth extractor. It's called a dental key. It dates from the early 19th century. It has an ebony crossbar handle and a cranked steel shaft. The more that you look into this object, the more gruesome it sounds. Like I said, it's an early type of tooth extractor. So pre-fillings and dental treatment, the safest thing possibly the safest thing you could do would be to remove a tooth. The metal hook was fitted around the tooth that needed to be removed. And then it was extracted and the handle was literally turned like a door key.
Ouch.
In an attempt to remove that infected tooth. So this was also without any kind of anesthetic or anything like that.
Of course not.
So dental keys would often break the tooth and sometimes even fracture the jaw.
Ooh.
So, you know, you've got to look after your teeth.
I think two things. I think that's a wonderful PSA. Always look after your teeth. And then also, we're all wondering here in the chat, is this maybe also viable for Creepiest Object?
Possibly. I think we did. It was put up as creepy object as well.
Oh man, and I just don't even want to think about how many different teeth this object was responsible for removing.
Whose blood is on it?
Okay, let's, so now it's time for you all who are watching to decide who the winners are. So we're gonna launch our poll here on Zoom. Will it be the Egyptian filters or the tooth extractor? Go ahead and cast your votes here. If you're in Facebook, go ahead and write your comments below. Is it gonna be the filters, the tooth extractor? Which do you think you will choose? I have to admit, I was stumped by the filter when I first saw it. I thought decorative object, just maybe, I didn't think use. I didn't think, oh, this has a use.
Does make me wonder.
I remember when we were looking at the objects for our Olympics, and this image was shown to me just about 2 hours before I had to go to the dentist. So I was a little bit put off by that.
What a motivation.
I know. Oh, I might leave it till tomorrow.
Pamela in the chat is saying this is a really hard choice for her because she is a potter, but she also works in the dental field.
Ooh.
How is she going to choose? And then Heather has commented that she was already afraid of the dentist, so this might really be putting her over the edge a little bit. All right, I'm going to stop our polling. So get those polls in. If you last minute, you have 1 second left to place your vote. And then if you're in Facebook, you can always add that to the comment below. And it looks like Newark has taken this round. All right. Congratulations all.
On the object I didn't even think was hey,
you never know what people will respond to.
And I bet the dentist will be wearing a clown outfit.
All right, let's move into, we're halfway through. This is our 5th round, and this round is called Dinner is Served. Now in the UK, I know you all, dinner is about to be served. For us here in the US, we've got a little ways to go, but I think our objects today are gonna make our mouths water either way. So we're gonna have up on the screen right here, the 2 objects we're gonna have our contestants talk about. And going first today is going to be Newark Museum of Art. We have Daryl. You have 1 minute on the clock, Daryl. Let's hear what you have to say about this object.
All right. So I know when we think about giving someone the bird, we don't often think of peacock. However, as Katy Perry noted, you know, the peacock is a quite attractive bird. But not only is it an attractive bird, it's at one point in American history was a popular pheasant to serve to your guests. So I'm dropping gems and I'm dropping art. Before the turkey, which is what we now use for most of our family gatherings, it was the peacock that was used at most family dining expeditions before we Americans felt that maybe the peacock was a lot prettier than the turkey and should probably be preserved and admired for its beauty and not devoured. So, you know, he won out, but the turkey, it kind of sucks for him. Moving forward, this piece is made by the artist Yinka Shinabare. It's titled Party Time, The Standing Butler. I love Yinka Shinabare, especially his use of wax Dutch fabric here.
Oh,
I agree. Keep going.
All right, Birmingham is ready to go next. Andy, let's hear a little bit about your Dinner is Served.
So our Dinner is Served is definitely this painting entitled The Marauders, and it was an advert designed for Alfred Bird and Sons, who manufactured custard powder. And so on the table, you see lots of different custards and blancmanges there, and those sneaky children going for those adult delights hiding behind the tablecloths. I don't think we'll get away with giving that much sugar away today or telling kids about that. So you can see that they're approaching it in probably the right sneaky way. The artist, George Maynard Brown, created this work in the late 1800s. And it was really kind of testimony to all those amazing things about all the delights of custard, which was, Alfred's passion. He designed eggless custard powder that was manufactured obviously in Birmingham. But one of the interesting facts is a bit like flour mills and things like that, the custard powder was combustible as well. So it had the ability to blow up and explode. So these could potentially, there's a kind of Willy Wonka vibe about this, about some kind of exploding cakes. Yes.
Talk about sugar shock.
Yeah.
All right, everyone watching, all of our Zoom participants, it's now up to you to decide. Is it going to be our plated peacock or our munching marauders? Which will you choose? Go ahead and choose a poll now. If you're on Facebook, please just type your vote in the comments below. We will still count those. We'd love to hear from our Facebook Live participants. We're so excited that you're joining us on Facebook. And we've got 63 people on this morning, so this afternoon for the UK, Great. This morning for us, and that's very exciting. We love having everyone join us.
I love the Yinka Shinobari work. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yes, especially when you're able to see it in its entirety. It's very submersive. I love it.
It's a whole installation with people at the table.
All right, I'm gonna let you all vote for just one more moment, and then I'm gonna end our poll here. We have someone in the chat letting us know some fun facts here. Alfred Bird's wife was allergic to eggs, which is why he created an eggless custard powder.
Huh.
This is true.
Random fact.
I love learning things like that.
I love
And also,
that, yeah.
Can I just say, by the way, that I'm very mad at how America is not really kind of on this whole custard train that the UK is on. Because I love like a warm pudding with warm custard poured on it, and that's just not a thing here. And it really
frustrated. Your inner foodie is frustrated. We got to let it out. I can co-sign. You know I love to eat, so I wish.
I am all about the food, and when I can't get me a warm, pourable, delicious custard over a pudding,
Okay,
the only thing is cold custard's quite popular as well, which is not nice.
I'm more of the warm, yeah. The cold for me, because we do like custard pies over here, but
I like it either or. I'm for either or. I'm like, give me the cold or the warm.
Just give me the sugar. I just want the sugar. Linda says, "Oh no, US, you all need some custard." So you all just pop some in the mail for us. All right,
we're gonna. Who got that last round, Megan? I don't think our Facebook.
Did I share it? Let me share it. Oh, we have a winner here. Is the plated peacock?
Come on!
All right,
Newark was taking that one home. All right, our next round is fierce footwear. So we have two works here up on the screen that are about to be presented to you all. We're gonna start with Birmingham. This is for you, Joe. I'm going to put 1 minute on my timer here, and you can take it away.
This footwear was designed by veteran costume maker Professor Black at Oakland's Community Centre in Handsworth in 2000. Professor Black has spent over 4 decades creating carnival costumes, and this is one of 2 that we have in the collection. So the Handsworth Carnival was established in 1984 and is the second largest carnival in the UK after Notting Hill. The carnival began as a way for African Caribbean people in Birmingham who were predominantly living in Handsworth to come together to celebrate music, food and costume traditions. The boot was made for the Millennium Carnival Queen, which is a bit of a mouthful, and it of an outfit which is adorned with purple sequins, yellow and pink feathers, gold and red, silver beaded decoration. The Carnival Queen leads a troupe, often dancing for hours to live music. So really, I hope you all agree that to dance for hours in these amazing costumes requires the fiercest footwear around.
Excellent.
I think the 2 Asian guys should be wearing these.
Yeah.
They probably should, yeah.
Yeah, they would kill it. Meanwhile, that boot is beautiful. Just have to.
Isn't that boot beautiful?
I love how we've color coordinated our 2 choices as well.
It would appear.
Daryl, Afropunk.
You're right. I'm gonna need to borrow those for Afropunk in Brooklyn. So next year, if you don't mind putting those on loan for me, I would so appreciate it.
They might be returned.
Mars says, Newark, you guys got to quit complimenting Birmingham on their footwear because you're not making your case. So
till now.
That's right, Fran. Bring it home. Bring it home.
I'm going to pass this over to Fran. You have 1 minute to tell us more about what we're looking at here on the screen.
Okay. These are two exquisite shoes, Manchu women's tall-soled shoes with horseshoe sole, which really puzzles me, horseshoe sole and butterfly and carp motif, late 19th centuries, China. It's silk and cotton. So what puzzles me about this is the horseshoe sole. Is there really a horseshoe under there? I don't know. This pedestal shoe from Manchuria has the heel placed in the center of the sole. The hand-embroidered satin shoe was worn by a woman of status. How would she walk in it? We were talking about this earlier. Would she shuffle? You can't bend the foot. It won't bend. It's not flexible. The upper section of the shoe is of pale lavender satin embroidered in floral and butterfly motifs in multicolored silks. The tip of the toe represents a carp. The pedestal was carved from a solid piece of wood, covered in cotton. This elegant. Ooh.
All right.
We sure are going over every time this time.
It's A-okay. I'm just here to keep you all on task. And to be quite honest, I really just love the sound of the taboo buzzer. So I'm going to put up on the screen here our two choices. Which will you all choose for this round Fierce Footwear? Is it going to be the bedazzled boot or the tall-soled slippers?
Newark.
I'm going to put the poll up here now. And if you're on Facebook, please write in the comments below. It looks like someone says the shoes, Fran, look just as torturous as the tooth extractor. They look just as painful.
And they look really tiny. I don't know if there was a size on these.
I like how you can see the face of the, to me, it looks like the face of a fish at the front of it. And maybe like the sides are like the fish. What are those called on fish?
Carp?
That they swim with? Fins.
Fins? Yeah.
They swim with them.
Those, but yeah, those pesky things.
I've only had 1 cup of coffee today, so you have to bear with me. Words are hard. All right, we have 1 more minute here to cast our vote. We have a few other people here who haven't polled. If you're on Facebook, is it going to be the bedazzled boot or the tall-soled slippers? Fran, some of the comments here, they do make a good point that many times culturally in that country and in that time frame, the women's feet might have been bound, so they might have been smaller.
Absolutely.
So that might account for the size.
And they wouldn't be walking either. They would be carried.
Oh.
Well, you couldn't, once they strangled your foot like that, there's no way you could walk.
I'm going to share our results here. It looks like Birmingham's bedazzled boot.
Wow.
Congratulations, Birmingham. All right. We're almost to our last round, but we've got a couple more fantastic themes here. We've got our next round is I Put a Spell on You. Very appropriate here for the time of year that we're in. And we're going to see 2 bewitching works here. So I'm going to hand it over first to, I believe, yes, Daryl from the Newark Museum of Art. Daryl, I'm putting 1 minute on the clock.
All right. And so I'm just going to dive right in here. Now, while it may not have all the majestic of the painting that's coming up behind me, this little trinket here in our museum is quite interesting. So I'm just going to read the label copy and you follow along with me. All right. So here we go. So the picture is filled with small witch balls. According to folktales, witch balls would entice evil spirits with their bright colors or their strands inside. The strands inside the balls would then capture the spirits and prevent them from escaping. Now, I don't know if this is some kind of melee between a contraceptive or are we actually catching evil spirits, but I'm a little bit perplexed by how these balls produced by witches would then catch the evil spirits. So, I mean, you got to give it to them. I mean, early medical care in order to be able to prevent evil spirits from, enticing you.
Goes with the extractor.
All right, let's hear from Joe from Birmingham. You have 1 minute on the clock.
Okay, in Greek mythology, Medea is a magician and princess. She fell in love with Jason, who helped her steal the golden fleece from the island of Colchis. Although they married, he later divorced her after the birth of their children to marry Glauce. In revenge, Medea created a poison robe and coronet and sent it to her rival. The robe burst into flames when Glauce put it on, killing her father, and everyone else in the palace, apart from Jason. Medea then murdered her 2 children in front of him.
Oh my God.
In this painting, Medea is seen casting the spell, which is to curse the robe. The Egyptian cat god and the dried stingray in the painting signify her dark magic. And the boat in the background is her husband is sailing away to his lover. So Medea appears rather distracted and claws at her sort of coral necklace. Is she... Oh.
Wow, I feel like that should be a movie. I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right, my friends, it is now time. The choice is yours. The fate of these 2 museums is in your hands. Which work will you choose? Will it be Magical Medea or the Witch Ball Pitcher? And Joe, I think I pronounce it Medea, but you say Medea, right?
Medea. No, I think it is Medea. I'm terrible at pronouncing.
No,
names.
you're fine. You're fine. I assumed it was yeah, people say things differently all over the world.
It's
Medea. Maybe it's Medea.
Medea.
Motto.
Meta. This Greek meta.
When I see this painting, I always think oh my gosh, I've left the iron on back at home.
Low key, I feel like Meta would have actually used the witch ball container. She seems like the type of girl that isn't going to be persuaded by wasn't going to be persuaded by anybody who decides that they're going to run over top of her. So
she's doing bow 2, 3.
Maybe she's holding the witch ball pitcher in her hand. Maybe that's what's in her hand.
Oh, she's maybe throwing the witch balls into the fire,
Maybe.
Yeah, with the frog.
We have
been enticed.
We have a lot of comments in the chat that are curious about how those glass marbles or glass balls got inside of that glass vessel, because that would be like obviously a huge task for something handmade like that. And then we also have a lot of our visitors here who have noticed the toads on the left. So things to consider here. All right, I'm going to end our poll here and share the results. If you're on Facebook, please continue to put your vote in the chat below. But it looks like Medea has taken this round.
So close so far. Come on, America. Come on, USA. Gotta bring it home.
She'll probably curse you if you don't vote for her. That's the thing.
Right.
People were frightened. They were scared. So now we're going to move on to a round we call Hipster Hair. All right, Hipster Hair. I think very something we can all relate to. I'm going to put the 2 works here up on the screen for you to have a look at, and then we're going to hear from our contestants. All right, so up first we have Birmingham. Andy, I believe this is you. I'm going to go ahead and put 1 minute on the clock, and it's all you now.
Okay. This is just phenomenal hipster hair that encroaches the face, and under that cap it's called The Head of a Bearded Man by Giovanni Bonconsiglio, created in 1537. And he was an Italian painter of the Renaissance period, active mainly in Venice, and he is just cool. He's just so evocative. It's just right time for the winter now. He's the hipster that's getting ready for going out. I imagine him cruising around London, but occasionally I do see those types of dudes in Birmingham too. But those plumages, it predates the idea of what a Princess Leia could be doing with those buns on the side of that head there. But I've also wondered about the rest of him, and I've done a little piece of artwork myself. As you may see, I think those are the types of trousers that he's wearing. Those really, really tight ones that go all the way down to the bottom without the socks, and very pointy kind of leather shoes. And I think he can click-clack down the hallways perfectly. I think that... I'm
sure he had taps on his shoes.
Taps, yeah. Definitely.
All right, let's hear from Fran. Okay. You have 1 minute on the clock.
This is called Itch by Melanie Belenker. It's from 2010. It's made out of hair. It is not embroidery. It is meticulously done through a special microscope. And she uses her own hair. So it's hair, paper, gold, and steel. It is only 1 3/4 inches by 1/4 inch. So it's very peculiar. I thought maybe she forgot her mask and she's just holding her hand up to her face.
I mean, the fact that it's made out of hair and she looks very Brooklyn, friend. I'm going to say very boho chic, in her what they call it, boyfriend shirt. She by that alone with her stylish swagger and the fact that she's made out of human hair. I don't think it gets any more hipster hair than that. I mean, it feels very Brooklyn to me.
It's kind of gross.
a little gross. I mean, this is obviously post-COVID, or was it COVID?
All right. Now the choice is yours. Who are you going to choose? Will it be the tidy tresses or the bushy bloke? Are you going to choose our which hipster will you choose? I did not know that one was made out of hair, Fran. So
yeah, her own hair.
Her own hair. But then Andy, that drawing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. We should have put that.
Can we get a peek of that one more time? Yeah, can we get a peek of those pants?
There's my pointy shoe.
The shoes, I like the shoes.
It's only an aspiration for me. I love the way these pictures come together on the screen now.
I feel like they would date.
So go away.
They interact with each other.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like he's at the bar trying to get her a drink and she's like, where's your mask?
Yeah. Must have sprayed on the perfume before the online session.
There you go.
He's covered in Axe body spray and she's like, oh no. He's just covered. He's like overdone it, you know.
Straight out of work from the Camembert factory.
All right, I'm going to end our poll here, but if you're on Facebook, don't forget to write in the comments. Will it be our tidy tresses that Newark presented or our bushy bloke that Birmingham presented? And I'm going to share our winner for this round.
Hey.
All right, Newark. All right, Newark. Now remember, Facebook could change all of this, but it's good to get an idea, to get a pulse on the people who we are sharing this event with right now. All right, let's move on to our second to last round here, I believe. And this one's called Into the Wild. So I've got on the screen here the two works that we're gonna dive a little deeper into as we go into the wild. And first up is gonna be Newark. Daryl, I'm gonna go ahead and put 1 minute on the clock and you take it away.
All right, so we're going on an expedition, and on this expedition, we are hunting for bone, antler, and wood. This piece is made by artist Jennifer Trask, and it is called, and I might misenunciate this, Acanthus. Acanthus. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure our curators are cringing as I slaughter that. But with that being said, this is a beautiful piece made out of bone, antler, and wood with plaster and gold leafing. So what I'm more curious about is what happened to Rudolph, because I know that this bone and antler had to be curated from somewhere, and I can only imagine to where it came. So I don't know I don't know what Fran, what's your thoughts when it comes to this specific piece?
Well, this is what, 16 by 12 inches. Those are really small antlers. Did they, kill baby deer and stuff? I don't know. I mean, I hope not.
We've just ended with, a little bit of a vision there of Bambi's mother. So let's move on. Let's move on. I want to pass it over to Birmingham. I believe this is you, Andy. I'm going to give you 1 minute on the clock.
Okay. So this is Dominicans in Feathers by Henry Stacy Marks in the year 1887. It's one of the very first pieces for Birmingham museums. And it compares the plumage of penguins to the black and white robes of the Dominican monks. I have trouble getting my words out now. It's intended to be funny, but also a bit more satire in there. He was noted for, Stacy Marks was noted for his humorous subjects in his paintings of birds. And he also noted that birds made better models than humans, since they were less conceited, less greedy, and less boring. So those dudes are all standing there having their little chitter chatter, even though there's the storm coming from behind the sea, which seems to be a regular trend with the seas, a bit stormy skies at the moment, but they're all there, and the interplay between them is just fantastic. It brings so much joy, this painting, to the museum. It's situated right in the heart of our mini museum, dedicated to the families. And it used to be very, very high up in the sky. So we brought it right down close, young eye level, so people can get right up to those details. And I know in the next slide, you do get a little bit of look at that, but it's really fun. There we go.
Thank you both so much. All right, we've gone into the wild and we want to hear from you all. So which will you choose? Is it going to be the pack of penguins or the ornate antler?
I feel like we may have made a bad choice here, Fran. My Newark Museum colleagues, maybe next time we shouldn't go with the animal body.
Hey,
I don't.
you let the people choose. Maybe they think it's beautiful with the gold
It's
leafing.
beautiful.
But I have to say, these penguins really, the way they're looking at me,
Exactly.
a little bit coy.
They're very human.
Yeah.
And who doesn't love a good penguin? I mean, I love happy feet. Like
That's the
penguins,
quote.
like-
Who doesn't love a good penguin?
The quintessential cuteness, really.
Exactly.
All right, place your votes. You've got 2 more seconds to place your votes, and then we're going to move on to our last round. If you're on Facebook, don't forget, let us know, penguins or antler, which will it be? But I'm going to go ahead and end our poll here. And I'm going to share the results, and it's Birmingham's pack of penguins for the win. All
That's the
right.
dark when the wind went out.
Now we'll talk.
All right, everyone. Everyone, this is your last round, so go ahead, loosen up, do some stretches, get your head in the game, because this round is called You Can't Pick Your Family. And if we've learned anything from quarantine and COVID-19, it's that you can't pick your family. So we've got 2 works up on the screen here. And first, we're going to move over to Birmingham. It's going to be Joe for this round. Joe, I've got 1 minute on the timer, and you can go ahead and begin.
Okie dokie. So this is the Roffey family, painted by Joshua Reynolds in 1765. On the right, you've got Sarah Roffey and her Italian greyhound and a husband. I put them in that order. A distiller from Kingston upon Thames. On the left is their son Bolter and their daughter Sarah. Sarah only recently married, but sadly she died in 1765. So they think that this is a posthumous painting of her. It was quite common to put recently deceased members of your family in paintings, especially children, as an act of remembrance. The Roffeys appear very pale and even more serious. Aside from William, everybody else is like giving you a good look and sort of looking at you. The ghostly appearance of the family has led some visitors to the museum wondering if there's another story here. Do these sitters have a dark secret? Are they in fact vampires? Or is there more scientific explanation to their pallor? We know Reynolds was experimental in his techniques and uses of glazes.
Dang bugger.
Okay now.
All right, Fran, this one is for you. I'm putting 1 minute on the clock.
Horace Rockwell, the Lewis G. Thompson family, circa 1844, oil on canvas. This is one of our pieces that we use quite often, and it has quite the story. So the woman on the top, on the very left, and the gentleman are Mr. and Mrs. Thompson. The woman to the right of Mr. Thompson is Mrs. Thompson's sister. The woman to the right of the sister is that woman's daughter. That space in the middle was left for the sister's husband. So we have a little bit of sister wives here. You know, it's very creepy. It reminds me of True Blood. This is another creepy.
I'm also
and those
curious.
5 children belong to Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, we think.
Because I'm also curious that the husband, they left the space for the husband, he's deceased, but if you look really closely, the sister and the husband are very cozy. So I don't know if this was planned or not, because you know this was.
Ooh, it's getting like a soap opera in here.
Of course it was planned.
There is some
and
real
his wife
family
doesn't look too
drama.
happy. The sister holding the baby, who's married to Mr. Thompson, doesn't look too happy. She looks very frustrated.
She's preoccupied.
I look to the 27-year-old baby on that one.
All right, everyone. We've got two families here. Which will you choose? Will it be our gloomy garden gathering on the right or our melancholy music menage?
Nice
And, and I learned a new word, menage, which I didn't know that word, and I knew it in alliteration. So there it is. And now that you've told me a little bit of the story, I think it's even more an appropriate word.
Yes.
So
So
post your poll vote now, who you're going to choose. And if you're on Facebook, right below, is it going to be, which vampire family will you choose, really? Because I think at
That's
this
what
point,
it comes down to.
it boiled down to two different vampire families.
one has a little more Jerry Springer action happening, and then the other is a little more highbrow, like Twilight. So it just depends on what you're into, you know.
Yeah, that little girl in the middle is just like floating there.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of Interview with the Vampire, you know. Just
Just a little.
We've got someone in the chat chanting Jerry, Jerry, Jerry. And then we also, some of our chat are noticing that it sounds like Adam's family. The little girl in the red dress is also very much disturbing. But I also want to point out to everyone before I close the polling in just a moment of the dog in the bottom right corner of Birmingham's painting. I think he is the real MVP.
Yeah.
Now there is a dog too in our painting. Someone's asking what is the little boy holding, and I'm not sure if it's for which painting I'm thinking ours, but the boy is holding a dog. He's holding a dog that's reaching for an apple that the little boy's holding up. So you can't really see those details because of the way that the image is, but there is an apple in the little boy's left hand, while there's a dog in the front of his right hand.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share our results here. It looks like for our last round, we've got the melancholy music menage. So Newark. All right. Wait, this just in. My earpiece is telling me that we have time for a bonus round.
Hey.
Hey, let me put my hat on for that.
Oh,
Okay.
I love
It's
the prop.
bonus round. Okay.
Or
so
it could either be that or this.
We're both. We're both.
for
I can't
this,
talk very well though.
for this bonus round, we are going to look at the best booty. Who has got the best butt?
I feel like we should play Sir Mix-a-Lot at this moment, but I don't know. Do we have Sir Mix-a-Lot? The
might get music shut down, no rights, but we're
right,
all singing it in our heads at the moment.
We are.
Sing it out loud.
All right, so this is really going to be the clincher, which I think is appropriate for this round. First up, we have Andy, who is going to be presenting this wonderful medallion. I'm going to put 1 minute on the clock. Andy, take it away.
I like tiny butts and I cannot lie. This is perfect. This tiny little tush is perfect. It's a tiny little copper gilt button inset with blue jasper from 1770 to around 1800. And on there is Poseidon with his foot on there. So he's the god of sea and storms and earthquakes and horses. So there's a powerfulness, and there's a powerfulness in those buttocks too. They're beautifully formed, dirty pillows of fun that will be sitting there. And these tiny little things would have been adorned over a gentleman's jacket. So we could absolutely lay out a series of butts to his heart extent and gently caress them on his way around town all day long. But they're beautiful. And to realize they're only probably 2 or 3 centimeters across, you'd have to get someone going up pretty close to have a good examination of that powerful little bum there. And it's just such a wonderful little thing. We think about the Sir Mix-a-Lot's tunes many, many times, but actually let's work it the other way around and see how this delicate little baton can work its wonders and charms. It's a beautiful thing, and I can't wait to see the next ones and the variations of them as well.
All right, Newark, you're the last to go. Who's going to present this one?
I mean, let's do it, friend. We could tag team it.
All right, I'm going to put a minute on the clock and you all tag team. Let's hear more about this derriere.
I mean, not to riff off of Sir Mix-a-Lot, but in our case, we like wet butts and we cannot. And there's nothing wrong with a little bit of saturation, because I imagine that as the artist had to paint this, that this piece was probably very inspiring as he had to soak up or allow the bum to soak up all the moisture before going into work. With that,
Daryl, it's a photograph.
It's a photograph.
It's a photograph.
I thought here I am thinking this was a painting. So this was
No.
this was the
This is
precursor
the
to
real
whatever
book.
to whatever occurred after. After, so before there was an OnlyFans, clearly this was the original OnlyFans page, or the OnlyFans like page that sparked the coming generation of what we have now, as it was created in 1983. So I'm totally here for this. I don't know about you, Fran, but it's something about
I
the way
love
that
this.
the
Sally
artist
Mann.
is gripping with one hand and photographing with the other.
Yeah.
It looks like he is definitely mastered multitasking.
Brilliant.
All right. We've heard about the booties. Now we've got to vote. This is our last round. So
New work.
which caboose will you choose? Is it going to be the pocket-sized posterior or the thinly veiled tail? All right, on Facebook, on Zoom, go ahead and let us know in the comments. If you're on Zoom, go ahead and click on the poll here. Is it the pocket-sized posterior or that thinly veiled tail? And Daryl, does it look different to you now that you know it's an actual model who was like put in a dress and drenched?
For me, I'm going to have to say it gets even more points just for the fact that it's a real life photograph. Because think about the tenseness that she had to hold to capture that image, and the fact that
too involved.
I'm going too deep. It's still too early. It's too early. I'm sorry. PG-13. PG-13.
Right.
I had to double take. I thought she was holding an iPhone.
It looks like something that you post on Instagram with a slight filter. I mean, it was ahead of its time. Like, I'm just saying, like, ahead of its time.
I think they're both wonderful booties, but it's not up to me. So we're going to let the people decide. So I'm going to go ahead and end our polling. If you're on Facebook, don't forget, write in the comments.
Yeah.
And we've got our team behind the scenes tallying away those votes. But on Zoom, here is what they have chosen.
No pun intended.
They have chosen our tiny derriere.
Just by a little bit.
Just by
With a little butt.
just by a little butt.
No, those little details matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to say, this has been a close competition. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here so we can all see one another. And what we're doing at this point is I have my team behind the scenes tallying up and preparing the votes. This has been a wonderful way to spend an hour. I totally agree with you, Jonathan, in the chat. And while we're working to tally it up, if you all have any questions for our panelists about Birmingham Museums Trust, about the Newark Museum of Art, or about any of the 20 works that you've seen in this past hour, go ahead and drop those in the chat, drop them in the Q&A. We've got about 2 minutes here to answer a couple things if you have those questions.
And we're always here for questions, you know.
Always.
Hopefully we have answers.
And be patient, because I don't want anyone to leave the chat, as we still have to figure out the winner. So they're tallying.
don't leave
the
yet.
Do not leave yet. Thank you, Daryl.
Yeah,
Ooh.
stay with us. Stay with us. Stay with us.
Joanne, do you think the mud monkey is the oldest object in Birmingham in the museum's collection?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, that's a question. No, we've got some really, really, really old hand axes. So I think they kind of get in there. But it's probably the oldest monkey in the collection.
Oldest mud monkey that you have, right?
Oldest mud monkey, yeah.
So there's some people who want to know a little bit about Sally Mann. So Sally Mann is best known for the intimate and striking nude portraits for children, which she began making in 1984. And for her more recent series of large format landscapes of the American South. It's Motherland, Deep South, Last Measure. Prior to photographing her children, she worked with a number of adolescent girls, creating portraits and sensitively reflected both their physical and emotional transitions. Mann often employs 19th century equipment and printing techniques that greatly enhance the romantic quality of her work, which we can clearly see in that last butt picture. The antique look of her family photographs recall works by Victorian photographer Julia Margaret Cameron, while her landscapes consciously refer to the Civil War images of American photography, Timothy O'Sullivan. So she continues to work in the city where she is born in Lexington, Virginia. I should have known she was from Virginia. I'm from Virginia too. Hey, Sally. Originally. So with that, again, that makes total sense why the details are so like spot on. I feel like this is the year of the woman we're emerging into. So like women artists, women in general, like, yeah, only women would pay very close detail to the wrinkles, and I think
But some of her her photographs of her children were kind of creepy.
Oh, really?
If you've ever
I think
seen
she was a little polarizing. Like some people didn't appreciate what she produced because they felt that it might be like borderline. Yeah.
Was that the one with we had a wonderful workshop a while back. Was that the one with the young girl with the makeup friend that was in our second floor contemporary gallery, the new gallery, new exhibition, where we had the Bierstadt images for a while, the Bierstadt works. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't recall.
Because I think you're right. I do recall they had two photographs of her. They were nice, but they were a little like, wow. You didn't know how to mixed feelings. You didn't know how to feel about it.
It's like right on the edge of being cool and not so cool.
Yeah.
That's art sometimes. Am I right?
Yeah. Controversial.
Open to interpretation, right? So to the viewer.
And good art is supposed to invoke conversation anyway. So if people aren't talking, then maybe you got to rethink that thing.
So one last question before we move to who the winner is, only because I'm dying to know as well. But Andy, someone in the chat needs to know what this blue mask behind you is all about.
Yes. This was a mask. There's an artist that we've worked with called Rachel McLean. She's a Scottish artist from Glasgow, and she did an exhibition for us called Too Cute. But a couple of weeks before that, she did a couple of weeks residency in one of our big malls, our big shopping areas, and we were invited to go and perform for her. So I had to wear this mask, and I had to thrash around on the floor like a mad blue baby while we were finding out what everybody's satisfaction, how they were satisfied through retail and things like that. And it's a really scary thing. But it's my own beautiful object from working with artists, and it's one of those fantastic memories that you'll always take around with you. But I might crack it out for Halloween. That's a very good thing.
Yes. And I think full blue body paint.
Oh yes. I had a change of clothes. I did have a change of costume where I had a bright yellow wig and I was fully painted blue as well. So I had the opportunity to just try life with hair for a while.
And after my own heart.
So we are going to move on to the final portion of this event. I think something we've all been waiting for. It's been a delight. I want to say before we announce this, it's been a delight to be here with all four of you. We have really enjoyed hearing from all four of you. I think both museums are equally fantastic. And we're just really excited no matter who wins. We're all winners. And so Stephen is going to give us a little glimpse here, but I think we need a little drum roll if we can. Right. And the winner is...
Perfect. I love it with the share of the trousers.
That's what did it.
Thank you very much.
Do you speech? Is there a speech? I'm like
it's so pleasure to be here. It's absolutely wonderful, marvelous time we've had, and you guys have been absolutely marvelous for us as well too. It's been absolutely great to share our collections with you and meet you guys and be able to do this. It's been such a pleasure and so much fun.
Let's do it again.
Keep it going. Yeah, absolutely.
It's been a great way to spend a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Agree.
Thank you both.
It's great getting to know all of you.
I think it's well deserved. You have a wonderful collection. And I'm happy to get a glimpse into it. And I wasn't kidding about the next time we're able to travel somewhere. I'm absolutely putting Birmingham on.
That's what we're saying. Professional development.
I think
over to you.
To any of our funders who would like to sponsor like a professional development trip for the Newark Museum and the Birmingham museums to merge, and maybe for us to come to them and then them to come to us.
Yeah,
we would really appreciate that. Just putting that out there in the atmosphere, because this is what it's about. It's about learning and having that cross-cultural innovation. So let's make
Kumbaya.
that
The Tiny Butt Development Project.
Right.
Yes.
I like that. I like that.
Thank
Run
you
away
all.
with that.
Thank you all so much for joining us on Zoom and on Facebook Live. As you can tell, we had a fantastic time. I hope all of you at home watching had a wonderful time. I want to just say again, thank you to Birmingham, thank you to Newark. But this is just the beginning of the fun because we're doing here in the US at least, we've got many more hours to go before it's evening. And so we're celebrating with Community Day Game On. So if you haven't signed up yet, there's still time to register for 2 more time slots of our Escape from the Ballantine House virtual escape game. So feel free to check that out where you race the clock and see if you can get out of the Ballantine House and find the hidden beer recipe. That is a virtual escape game that we're playing throughout today. These are all free events too, by the way. You can also try some museum games. So if you enjoyed myself or Daryl, we're going to be hosting a really fun round of museum games at 2:30 today. There's going to be surprising challenges, and we're going to involve the museum's collection. We're going to get a little bit rowdy, but we're going to put your mind and body to the test as you compete against each other. It is all kinds of family fun. And then to wrap things up at the end of today, we're going to be doing hip hop found sound beat making with the Producer's Edge from 5 to 6. Again, these are all free family fun events, and you can learn how to create your own original hip hop tracks. So you'll be using Koala sampler apps that are available on Apple, Android, and the like. And then you'll also get to add in cool sound effects and create full-length collaborative hip hop beats with everyone from the community. And as you can see around the world, because all these virtual events span the globe, which we love. We love being able to bring us all together from our various countries. So go ahead and mark your calendars too for our next community day on Sunday, November 1st. We'll be doing Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, and we will have lots of fun virtual events to share with you all as well. So I want to say one more time, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Birmingham and Newark. Congratulations, Birmingham.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we will see you at our next events. Everyone have a great night.
Megan, before you roll out, tell them the website, www.newarkmuseum.
Yes, it's in the chat here. Stephen has been kind enough to share with us a link in the chat. So before we end our Zoom call, if you want to click that link, it will take you into all of our Game On events that you can sign up for. And again, they're all free. So
And if you're
check
watching
them
via Facebook, on www.newarkmuseumart.org, because we may not be able to see the chat.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you, Daryl. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a great weekend. And congratulations, Birmingham.
Congratulations. It was great fun.